Hi everyone, very good morning. Today our topic is what is the use of config elements in Apache JMeter. Okay, this is also one of the component in Apache JMeter tool. Okay, but mainly what is the use of config elements in Apache JMeter tool, right? The config element list first of all. Okay, total around 20 config elements available. Okay, total 20 config elements available, but mostly using example. First one is the CSV dataset config. Whenever you pass to the JMeter test script in test data during execution, that time you need to use to the CSV dataset config element. Okay, for any type of test data, you will provide it. First one. Second one, HTTP header manager. Header manager means whenever you pass any specific request or your script anything, there is anything is available in headers. Okay, sometime you will mention, right, the application type, content or JSON, otherwise content type application or JSON. Okay, different formats based on that application, which what type of application you recorded. Okay, the type of headers capturing and headers passing purpose, you need to use the HTTP header manager. Cookie also, you need to record any cookies also, it's available, right? Same only cookies passing purpose also, you need to use the cookie manager. Cache also, it's the same way. Whenever you log in something in application, the cache is backend, you need to catch. That time the cache manager you need to clear that one every time. Otherwise, you're not able to get the proper application request and response. Okay, this is also one of the interview question. Okay, whenever you need to use the HTTP cache manager, example, what is the main use? The cache manager, what is the main use, right? Example, you record the you log in one application. Okay, whenever you log in, you enter the username and password and hit the enter button. And application will take some time. I mean, based on the application capacity, hardware configuration, he will log in and he will display the web page for 10 seconds. Example. Okay. In next user, second user, you need to try to log in, right? That time what will happen? You need to same user, you need to log in. It's already stored. Cache is already captured that one and stored. Okay. That time, second time, it did not take that much of time. Just 2 seconds only, you will log in the page and open the page also. That is not a realistic performance testing, right? That time you need to use the cache manager and you need to clear the caches. Cookies also same way only. Okay, cookies also every user time you need to clear the cookies. And there is one option also. Clear the cookies each iteration, clear the caches each iteration. Okay, that is the use for cookies and caches after HTTP request to default. Okay, the HTTP request to default, you can see the point only default. Default means by default it's available. How the sampler HTTP request you need to work, right? Same way only HTTP request default you need to use. Another one, our topic, our component name only configuration elements. Configuration element means instead of sampler how you need to work, the same way only you need to work to the config elements and you need to configure the elements also. Okay, both the elements you need to work. Example, header manager, cookie, caches, everything you need to configure. Okay, and HTTP request default, this type of one by default it's available. Same way only need to work HTTP request default. Okay, how the HTTP request and HTTP request default both are it need to work same way only. Okay, after another one, bold connection configuration. You know, anybody you need to work to the JDBC connection configuration. Okay, you can see JDBC connection configured. Why I need to tell, right? Both are similar way. Example, in your sampler it's available JDBC request. Whenever you need to try to test the in database server, you need to execute the queries and you need to find out the how much time you need to take in specific database queries. Okay, that type of time you need to configure, right? What are the drivers you need to use? What is the application URL, port numbers, username and passwords? What are the queries you need to use? How much time you need to take? The connection timeouts, the delay timeout, all types of conditions and all the parameters you need to configure in JDBC request. Same JDBC request, the request is a JDBC request. Okay, but configuration setup, everything you need to do the only JDBC connection configuration only. Okay, the same way, bold connection configuration, bold request it's available. Okay, it's a what type of different technology you need to support it? Neo 4J. Okay, this is bold connection configuration and bold request. Both are it's newly coming to the JMeter. Okay, Neo 4J request or type of request you need to testing purpose you need to use it to the bold connection configuration. Okay, both same. Okay, JDBC connection configuration how we need to test it, right? Same way only. Bold connection configuration also you need to test it. Both are same means this is database validation purpose. This is Neo 4J technology validation purpose. Okay, that is only different. My next videos I will provide how we need to test to the bold request and bold connection configuration, what type of format of data, what type of technologies you need to use it to test that one. Okay, I will explain. After this is the one counter. Counter even everyone you know, right? In counter element, he will provide the you can give any one value. Example 0 you can give. The counter what you need to do, right? Every iteration one by one you need to increase that one. That purpose you need to use. Okay. After DNS Cache Manager. The DNS Cache Manager mainly will provide the our server or a system host name and domain details. You need to provide a username and password. Whenever you will face any DNS related DNS server related data, he will capture it, he will manage that one. Okay, that purpose you need to use. After FTP request default, same way only how HTTP request default you need to work, right? FTP request also it's available in sampler. Same FTP request default also same only need to work. There is no major one. FTP everyone you know, right? It's a file transfer protocol only. Okay, it's you need to use mainly file upload and download. How much time you need to take? That is the find outing purpose for multiple users. Okay, after HTTP Authorization Manager. HTTP Authorization Manager means whenever your application you need to recording time, any pop-up you need to came and you will ask to the something username and password, right? That type of situation without you did not add any um, test data, anything you did not add, directly you need to pass this application, right? That type of situation you need to use the HTTP Authorization Manager and you can give the your domain and port number details and username and password, everything you need to set up, and whenever you run right automatically without any test data you will pass that one. Okay, the login. Okay, authentication you need to pass. That is the main reason this one you need to use. After Java request, JDBC I'm already explained, right? Java request default. Java request default, right? The same also sampler it's already available. Java request same only need to work to the Java request default also. After Keystore configuration. Okay, who are the people you need to use to the in JMeter remote distributed validation or remote testing. Okay, remote distributed testing, who are the people you need to execute it through non-GUI mode? That people you already know about the Keystore configuration. What is the Keystore configuration? Keystore configuration means whenever you run to the non-GUI mode for distributed method in multiple systems or multiple load generators used to you need to run the test, right? That time you will face one issue. The Keystore configuration issue, one type of error you need to face. That time you need to set up to the your username and password, location, country details, all the details you need to give in, and final username based on your name only you need to provide, but password it you need to give the change it. Whenever you change it, you give it, right? There is a one keystore configuration file will be generated. Okay, the keystore configuration file is generated. Once the file is generated, right, without facing any issue, you successfully you need to run it. Okay, that file only, it's a configuration file. What are the details you provided? Okay, the username and password. In multiple systems you need to distribute the load, right? The way of distribution, it's a one type of key based you need to work. How the our software tools you need to provide it to the um, license key, right? Same way only the distributed method you need to run the test. The key file, the keystore file, right? The file only the license access purpose, license key based you need to work. Same way only need to work. But our element point of view, keystore configuration, right? You need to provide the config the details. Okay, this is the main use. After both are you know already. First one, LDAP request default. LDAP request, it's already available. Sampler same only, same sampler LDAP external request default also same go only need to work. After login config element, login config element similar to the HTTP authorization manager only. Login config element, you directly need to provide the where you need to pass to your login username and password, right? Same only you can give the your server or IP address or hostname you need to give, and you need to give the username and password. He will log in that one. Another one, random variable. Random variable means this element will provide it to the whenever you pass the minimum and maximum value. Example, I will give the minimum 1, maximum 100. Where you need to pick the data. That time the randomly value will be picked. Okay, that purpose you need to use. Example, in JMeter, anybody you need to use to generate any um, example, you need to generate any test data through JMeter tool user. Tool user to you need to generate some test data, right? That type of scenarios, the counter, random variable, this type of elements most of the time you need to use. Okay, please you can try any one. That time you can understand how you need to use this one. After simple config element, simple config element you need to use to the mainly Java related. Okay, Java related, what are the classes, methods, everything, the configuration purpose you need to use. TCP sample config. TCP, this is a different topic. TCP related, it's a network related, right? What are the configuration required details you need to config this one. Okay, after my detailed explanation I will show you that one. Okay, last one, user defined variable. User defined variables means, example, you need to take any HTTP request. You have multiple HTTP requests. Okay, you can give everywhere. Example, the server name is www.google.com. Everything you need to give google.com only. Okay, now you need to coming to the user defined variable. In user defined variable you need to provide it to the first one, name and host. Name point of view you need to give www.google.com, and host is you need to called dollar open something, you name it to give the same dollar flower bracket you need to open and close something, what is the name you need to provide it, the full details you need to give all the www.google.com place. Whenever user defined variable, what is the data it's available. Okay, whatever data it's available, right? Same data you need to pass to the all HTTP request. Tomorrow anything means your future anything something you need to change the server name or something anything you need to change, right? The user defined variable you need to change, that is enough. Remaining everything is same only. Okay. The reusing for the script purpose you need to use to the user defined variable, and you need to pass to the multiple data to another thread groups, another request also you need to change. Okay, that purpose you need to use to the user defined variables. Okay, maybe now you got some little bit idea about the what is the use of config elements in Apache JMeter tool. Okay, now you need to proceed to the in JMeter what is the elements, how you need to use, you need to do. Okay, just a minute, I will open to the JMeter. Go to bin, just take a minute, you will open that one. Okay. Okay, now you need to add the thread group. Under thread group, you can see I will explain one by one. First one, you can go to the config element, go to CSV dataset config element. Okay, everyone, most of the people you know this one CSV dataset config, how you need to use. Okay, whenever you set up to the test data, you need to give the to notepad or Excel or CSV file. You need to browse that one, and you need to provide it to the that path you need to give. Now it's come this one, but where you available to the test data, you need to select that one. First one, you can provide the path. File encoding, right? Most of the time you need to use UTF-8. Okay, that is the right format. Variable names, what type of names you have, you can give it to the in your Excel file. You directly give it to the test data you provided, otherwise anything names you provided. You did not provide any columns names, you did not provide it. That time you need to provide it to the variable names. Example, username comma password you can provide. After, ignore first line, only use it if variable name is not empty. Example, this is one of the important point. Whenever you provided, okay, whenever you provided in your Excel or notepad file, the first names you given to the username and password. Okay, now what you need to do, ignore first line. Ignore first line means in your test data file you can select the true. You can select the true. That time first line you did not use it to the test data. Remaining files you need to, remaining test data only consider the test data. Otherwise, you already provided this variable names, username and password. You test data, you did not provide anything. You can directly, you can use, right? That time, ignore the first line. It's a false. Now you need to use directly test data you need to use. Okay? That is the main use. Another one, delimiter, right? You need to use the comma. Most of the time, comma only you need to use. Okay? Okay, after allow quartet data, it's one of the important data. Okay, allow quartet data means there is no any spaces. Okay, that type of one is not allowed, right? Based on that one, you need to set up. Okay, false or true. That is based on your data only. Recycle and end of file. Okay, based on your test data. Example, you have a limited test data, but you need to execute the multiple times. That time, recycle on end of the file. Recycle on end of file means once test data is completed also you need to use. That time you need to select true. Okay. Otherwise you need a unique queue data. One time you need to use the test data, you do not use the next time. That time recycle on end of file It's directly can select the false only. Okay. After stop thread on end of file, he will mention once the test data is completed, you need to stop the thread. Now you need to select the false. Why you need to select false? You need to use the duplicate data. Keep on you need to use. Otherwise you need to use unique data. That time you need to select true. Once test data completed, stop. Sharing mode. Sharing mode means you have single test data. You need to use all the threads. That time you need to select all threads. All threads you need to use your test data. Otherwise you have multiple test data files. That time you need to select a current thread group. Which thread group you given to the test data, only the thread only you need to use. Current thread group only. Otherwise current thread only you need to use. Based on that one you can proceed. Okay. That is the main use of CSV dataset config element. At the same time, please you need to practice these conditions and you need to try. You also face there are so many issues. Whenever you need to use any notepad file or Excel anything, in backend any empty spaces also you will come to the in your output EOF end of the file. Okay, the type of errors also need to come. You test that everything is perfect, but still you have a empty space. Empty space also it's not considered. You need to remove the empty space. That time only you need to work. Okay, not only these issues, you need to practice 2 3 times. That time only you able to understand how these conditions, what type of situation you need to use. Okay, how you need to pass to the sequentially data, randomly, uniquely how you need to pass. Okay, all the methods you need to 2 3 times. You will practice only you able to understand. Okay, first one this one. Another time HTTP header manager. Okay, most of the time, most of the people you know, right? HTTP header manager. Whenever you need to pass anything headers, that time you need to add. Example, you need to add this one. Most of the time you need to use content type. Okay, this is just for example. Most of the time you need to use content type application or JSON. The format you need to passing purpose only need to use. And sometimes you did not pass this one, you will face some issues. Okay, the content type issue. That time you need to pass the HTTP header managers application or JSON. This is a sample I will show you. There are so many types, right? JSON formats, not only 1 or 2 formats based on what type of application you are using, that type of format. But the way of doing only same only. Okay, HTTP header manager. Okay, this is the HTTP header manager. After you can go to the config cookie. You can see this is the HTTP cookie manager. Whenever you need to add something, user defined cookies. Okay, you need to provide the name and what is the cookie. Value is what is the cookie. Domain is you need to provide your server host name or IP address. Path you general the cookie path only. Security means you need to provide the HTTPS format, right? That is in 443. You need to provide the port number. After standard your wish, what type of standard means that is based on your application only you able to provide it. I'm not able to provide most of the time standard only. Another one you can see options clear cookie each iteration. Every time you can enable right whenever load test is running, clear the cookies each and every time you clear that one. You able to find the expected response time. Okay, on thread group configuration to control cookie clearing. This is a different format. Use thread group configuration to control cookie clearing means this is a specifically where you need to add the thread group. You have a multiple thread group. Which thread group you add, that thread group only you need to clear this one. Okay, that is the way you need to work. Okay, yeah, that's all for the cookie manager. After cache manager, you can see This is one of the important topic. HTTP Cache Manager. In Cache Manager, you can see first option only, clear cache each iteration. When you enable this one, the load test execution time each and every time you need to clear to the cache. Okay, you will find the proper response time. Use thread group configuration on control cache clearing. Okay, whenever you add which thread group to the HTTP Cache Manager, the specific thread group only will clear the caches. Okay. Use cache control expire header when processing get request. Okay. This is when you need to use, right, this one. You can see the maximum number of elements for cache 5000. He already mentioned. Whenever you send to the request to the in server or get request or any type of request, mostly will mention get request only. You will provide some expression. Okay, maximum number of elements you need to provide. Based on that one, it will expire. But most of the scenario you will provide it 5000 seconds, right? Around 5000 elements you need to mention. But based on you running the load test, it's automatically before time only you catch, you need to get and you can clear also that one. There is no any expiration. You will use the low type of elements, that time only you will expire. Okay. After another one, HTTP request default. You can see guys, this is everything. First of all, the basic, right? Basic or advanced, both are same only. Same means HTTP request, what are the details available, same way only. Protocol, server name, port number, HTTP request default or path, content encoding, the parameter details and body of data. Okay. Same in HTTP request. How we need to use the HTTP request, same only HTTP request default also. There is nothing you need to change. Okay, it's no more you need to explain, everything HTTP request in sampler only. Okay, after we can moving to, okay, before explaining the bolt connection configuration, right, I can complete it to the FTP request default. Okay, you can see in how it's available FTP sampler, FTP request sampler, same FTP request FTP request default also it's same only. FTP request default configuration element also same only. Okay, in sampler also in same only it's available. There is nothing you need to change. Okay, FTP is completed. Now you can go to the Java request default. You can see, okay, anybody need to work with Java request sampler, that time you can easily need to understand. Okay, how Java request it's available in Java request default also it's same only. There is no need to anything change. Okay. After LDAP request, yeah, LDAP is need to mainly used need to doing the mail related testing. Okay, email related testing. But same sampler LDAP request only it's available. Same LDAP request default also it's same only. Our next one LDAP extended request default also it's same. You can see LDAP extended request. You can see in sampler LDAP extended request, LDAP extended request and the current configuration element LDAP extended request default also is same only. There is no any change. Okay, now it's almost same things it's completed. Now moving to JDBC connection configuration. You can see guys, this is one of the very important. In sampler it's already available JDBC request. Whenever you need to configure to JDBC request, now you need to start the JDBC connection configuration element. The JDBC connection configuration element, you provide the name and comments and variable name and boundary pool. You need to give into the what are the variable names you given, and this is very important one. Connection pool configuration. Maximum number of connections. You will mention 0. Now, based on your limitation, you need to use. maximum wait for milliseconds. It's around 10 or 10 seconds only. Time between it came to run. How much time you need to run that one? Auto committer. It's a true only. You need to everything true. You need to execute it. Transaction isolation default only. Um, Based on that one, most of the time you need to use default is the best one. Otherwise, you know about the how you need to execute it to the in database related details. You have already about knowledge. Yeah, based on that one, you need to select after prenet pool. Yeah, this is the pool request. You can select based on the what type of test you need to execute it. Test means in database testing also you need to run different types of validations, right? Based on that one, you need to select this one pool request also. You can provide the your SQL query. Okay. After connection validation by pool. Test while ideal. You need to select true only. Soft minute evictable ideal time. How much time you need to give. And validation query. You can see validation queries. There are so many types, right? The database related summary or dual information schema users. The details you need to provide the validation query. After another important one, you can see database configuration, connection configuration. First of all, database URL and JDBC driver class, username and password, connection properties. These details will provided to the server admin team or database admin team will provide it. Okay, these are all the details you need to configure and connected to the JDBC request. That time only you are able to perform to the your test. Okay, that is the main intention for use. Okay, how you need to use these validations everything my another videos I will provide it the details also how you need to test what you need to configure not only for sample testing exactly real time testing also how you need to use I will explain. Okay. Okay, now you need to move into the bold connection configuration. Okay, now you need to see this is the bold connection configuration. Okay. Okay, it's a bold request it's available and same way bold connection configuration. In bold connection configuration you need to provide it to the your bold request um, URL only. Otherwise you can see it's already mentioned it's a different one. IML first time you need to see right. Every time any application it's available HTTP or HTTPS it's available. But this is different Neo 4G applications right. It's directly available bold. Example, you anytime you need to see for FTP applications, you will come directly FTP only. Same way only, bold colon double backward slash localhost colon, it's a port number will provide it. And the username, something Neo 4G will be given, but Neo 4G related applications only need to test this one. Okay, and username and password you need to provide. That is only configuration. Remaining details in bold request only it's available. Okay. This is the use for board connection configuration. I will show you this one also how we need to do. Okay, now general one is completed. Now moving to the counter element. In counter, right, I am already explained. In counter, the incremental process you need to use. Example, you can see starting value. Example, I will given 1. Okay, maximum value 100. Increment is 1. Every iteration or every execution, you can 1 will be incremented. Number format, okay, digits, you can give the digits only. Export variable name, it's not required. Track counter independently for each user, you can see track counter independently for each user or independently you need to increment, that is also a track. Okay, this condition is not required. Reset counter on each thread group iteration. Okay, it's not required. Most of the time this process is enough. Otherwise this one also you not required. Okay, starting value 1, increment every user 1 and maximum value 100. This maximum 1 to need to come 100 and you need to start the 1 also. That is the base also you need to work. This is the counter. And coming to the DNS Cache Manager, this is using very rare condition. Okay, DNS Cache Manager. You will facing anything DNS related issues. That time you need to add this one. First one, you need to clear the cache each iteration. Clear the cache each iteration you need to enable. And based on you need to select. Example, you select the use system DNS resolver. Your system related, right? Use the use system DNS resolver. That time the DNS hostname and IP address you can provide that one. Hostname or IP address. You can actually by default it's already available, right? You can add and you need to do. Otherwise, same way only. Statistic host to table, right? You can provide your host and host name or IP address you need to provide. Otherwise, you can use the custom DNS resolver, right? Custom DNS resolver also it's same only. There is nothing you need to change. This is system related. Custom means you create it separately. That's all. Okay, but most of the rare condition only need to use this one. Whenever you face the issue, only need to use. Okay, now DNS Cache Manager done. FTP also completed. HTTP Authorization Manager. You can see I'm already explained that this HTTP Authorization Manager. You can see the options. First one, clear authentication on each iteration. Every iteration, the authentication username and passwords you need to clear. Use thread group configuration and control clearing. Means whenever you use the HTTP Authorization Manager any specific thread group only, the thread group only need to use. Okay, but most of the scenarios you need to use entire your test and all the thread groups also you need to use HTTP Authorization Manager. And you need to provide the your application URL, username, password, domains, realm sometimes will provide it's not required. Mechanism you must and should provide. Okay, the format little bit different for based on your application you need to provide the details. Okay, and moving to next one. Authorization done, JDBC, Java request, Keystore configuration. Now you need to see. Okay, this is guys Keystore configuration. I am already explained, right? The Keystore configuration, whenever you execute the non-GA mode, multiple user load test, multiple load generator used to distribute the load and start the remote testing, right? That time you will face some type of issues for Keystore configuration. That time you need to provide the your what are the details you required, and another one finally you need to provide username and password. Password is change it. Okay, that time in JMeter there is a one file keystore.jks. The file name called keystore.jks. JKS file will be created. This is one type of license key type of you need to work for you need to distribute the load to the multiple load generators. The same way keystore configuration now you need to configure that one. You can see alias selection configuration preload every time you need to select true only, not false. Okay, after variable name holding certificate alias only, alias start index 0, end index -1 means unlimited. -1 is unlimited. You need to run unlimited load based on your configuration. Okay, this configuration you need to use the GUI mode validation purpose you need to use. Okay, non-GUI mode it's not required. That is the command prompt only you can provide it. This is everything GUI mode, multiple user load, and multiple load generated user to you need to distribute the load. That time you need to use the keystore configuration. Okay, now moving to okay, now you need to see I'm LDAP is already completed, right? Login config element. You can see whenever you add it to the any request to the login config element, right? You can directly give into the username and password. It will directly pass that request. That purpose only need to use. Login config, and final one, it's a random variable. You can see this is one of the important element, random element. Okay, random variable. Output variable is variable name, based on which what type of name you required and give, and format also. And configure the random generator. Random means you can give minimum one, maximum value I will give into the 100. Maximum value 100 I will give. Seed for random function. You have anything knowledge about the random functions also you give. Okay, otherwise you can leave it blankly. It's no issue. Options is per thread user. Per thread user. Okay. Per thread user not false. It need to select it true. That time whenever you run your test, that time randomly the value will be passed. Okay. Example, something you need to take in the data 1 to 100, right? That time you need to give. Otherwise, you need to give based on your condition. Okay, maximum, minimum, and maximum values you need to pass. Okay, and you need to use the random variable. After simple config element, this simple config element, right? This is majorly need to use Java application only. Java applications using time, or by Java request. You or anytime you need to use, right? That time only, most of the time you need to configuration purpose you need to use. There is nothing else, is very simple. Example also it's already provided, but based on your application you need to change these elements. Example, test element dot name. What is the test element dot name? Simple config element. Simple config element. This is default. After test element dot GUI class. Okay, it's provided. You can see Apache.JMeter.config GUI simple config GUI, right? Same your application. What is the GUI class? You need to provide. And test element test class. Okay, this is GUI class, this is the test class. You need to provide the test class element details. And test element dot enabled. Okay, this is commonly need to, you can true only. Test plan dot comments, something you need to comment, you need to provide it, right? You need to provide. But this point of view, there are major elements, three only. One is GUI class you need to provide. GUI class and the test class and enabled. These two elements, right, in your in your Java request test execution, some other place also you need to call. Okay, this is the parent one. Somewhere you need to create a child, right? That request you need to accessing this both URLs or classes you need to access. Means the development how you need to do, right, in Java technology. Same way only you need to use this one. Okay. Yeah, that's all this one. And moving to the TCP sample config. This is totally different one. TCP one. Okay. It's a TCP network. Okay, network related one type of one this one. Okay. General elements. TCP client class name. Okay. Whenever you test anything server detail, server related testing, right? The TCP one. Okay, the you need to provide TCP client class name, you need to provide something name you are available in your application, right? The details development team will be provided. Your testing purpose, otherwise your knowledge purpose, I will create this one. Okay, after my videos I will create and clearly I will provide how we need to do and validation for TCP sample request and the TCP sample config also. First you need to provide the class name, target server, server name or IP address, port number, timeout related connect. How you can provide, it's very large number. How much time will be taken? I am also not sure. Response something you need to mention. And reuse the connection anytime you need to enable only. Close connection no. set no delay no, so linger no, end of line byte value. Currently you did not test anything. First you can enable the reuse connection only the right one. Text to send. Okay, something you need to send it to directly server, right? You have anything knowledge about to the TCP related for functions you need to use, that is the best way. Otherwise, what type of data you need to test, you need to send the request. Okay, you need to give that one. Text to send, right? Use something text you need to give and send. But that text, how you need to transfer to the TCP servers. Okay, you need to validate one time. That time only you also understand how you need to work. Okay, this is the related details, but my videos I will provide this one. Most of the people also you don't know how we need to use TCP related, means based on the project related only, right? Most of the web application you need to use HTTP only, remaining it's not work, not used. I will provide my next videos clear details how we need to use this one in practically. After last one, user defined variables. Okay, this is one of the variables, user defined variables. I am already explained also. Example, you need to give the name. What is the name? The name is, I will given the name is Google. Instead of I will given www.google.com. You can see name Google, but user defined variable is www.google.com. This is the original application. Now in HTTP request, right, you can select the HTTP request default. Example, in HTTP request, everywhere it's available www.google.com. Okay, every time there are so many HTTP requests for every, there are so many HTTP requests available. Our application recording time also generated. Every time you need to use, right? Example, something anything change after 10 days or 15 days after. Okay, you need to change every page, every request you need to go and you change the URL, right? Instead of that one, what you need to do, right? Simply you can mention to the dollar open and close bracket Google. Whenever this one will call, right, immediately go to user defined variables and call to the google.com. Just this one place you need to change, that is enough. This is the reusable script. This is very small scenario, but whenever you take your script is very high complex, okay, that time it's very usable trick. Okay, just one time you created, right? Next time anything you need to change, the one place you can change, that is enough. Remaining everything is working as expected. Yeah, it's completed now totally 20. Okay, what is the config element? But our general validation purpose, you need to use it to the CSV config, HTTP header manager, cookie, cache manager, okay, JDBC connection configuration, counter, HTTP authorization, keystore, login config element. Okay, login config element also you need to use, and user defined variables. Remaining elements most of the time you did not use. The reason is it's based on project requirement only you need to use it. That reason. Okay, now it's all the elements I have completed. Maybe you will get some little bit idea about the all the elements, how you need to use, what type of situation you need to use the elements. Okay, yeah, yeah. That's all guys, this video. I will connect to the my next video. I will provide it in more details. Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.